Hi everyone, welcome to Chinese Pod. My name's Gwilym.
Hi everyone, this is Fee and you're watching an elementary lesson.
So what are we learning today?
So the topic of today's lesson is, you can speak this, I can speak this. Because as language learners, or maybe in a language learning environment, you'll probably find people that speak different languages and maybe you want to exchange a bit of that. So today's lesson is all about, you speak this, I speak that. Well, can you teach me this other language?
So if you're learning with Chinese Pod, you probably know the key one, which is 中文.
Exactly, because Chinese Pod is called 中文播课, Chinese Pod. So that Chinese is going to be part of the vocabulary of today's dialogue. 中文. And the second language you're going to hear in today's dialogue is 日文.
日文, and that is Japanese.
That's right. So let's listen to today's dialogue, see what the situation is, and we'll go into much more detail in the discussion.
All right, let's listen to it.
こんにちは，元気。
你会说日文？
我会说一点。
那你可以教我日文吗？我想学。
我不能教你日文，我教你中文吧。
我已经会说中文了。
こんにちは，元気。
你会说日文？
我会说一点。
那你可以教我日文吗？我想学。
我不能教你日文，我教你中文吧。
我已经会说中文了。
こんにちは，元気。
你会说日文？
我会说一点。
那你可以教我日文吗？我想学。
我不能教你日文，我教你中文吧。
我已经会说中文了。
Now that we've listened to the dialogue, how about we translate it?
好，我们来翻译今天的对话。So here we start with こんにちは、元気。
So this is Japanese and it is hello, how are you?
And then we hear the Chinese, which is 你会说日文？
You can speak Japanese.
你会说日文？
Wow, you can speak Japanese.
我会说一点。
Yeah, I can speak a bit.
我会说一点。
Yeah, I can speak a little.
那你可以教我日文吗？
Then could you teach me Japanese?
我想学。
I would like to study.
那你可以教我日文吗？我想学。
Then could you teach me? I'd love to study.
我不能教你日文，
I can't teach you Japanese,
我教你中文吧。
but I can teach you Chinese.
我不能教你日文，我教你中文吧。
I'm unable to teach you Japanese, but I can teach you Chinese.
我已经会说中文了，
But I can already speak Chinese.
我已经会说中文了。
I can already speak Chinese.
All right, well, let's start with today's discussion, and we'll start at the second line where we hear the person kind of shocked and go, 你会说日文? You speak Japanese?
So when you're talking about languages, the most common way to say that you can do something is with the verb 会, fourth tone.
会. So often you'll hear 你会说中文吗?
Now that's a question because we have the ma at the end.
And today's statement, it's kind of a shocked statement. They're like, you speak Japanese? 你会说日文? And if you can speak Chinese, you can say 我会说中文, or maybe you want to say I can speak English. 我会说英文.
Okay, you'll notice a theme there. They all end with the 文 character, and then you just put the kind of country in front of it.
Yeah.
So German
德文
and Korean.
韩文
Okay.
韩文、德文、英文、中文 and 日文. Now, if you're finding this 日 a bit difficult to pronounce, do go check out our Say It Right series, and we have a very specific video dealing with these sounds.
Now, if someone says, wow, you can speak Chinese, the polite way is to say, just a little. Or it might be true. You can only speak a little.
You can, like me, only say sumimasen and genki.
And so how do you say that in Chinese?
You can say 我会说一点.
一点.
A wee bit, one bit, 一点. 我会说，说 is the verb to speak. 我会说一点。
Any other ways to say that? You can add a kind of R noise at the end.
我会说一点儿，一点儿。Now the 会 that we've seen in the second sentence and the third sentence is the 会, the can, dealing with a learnt skill. We're just going to briefly touch upon these. If you want to see a more detailed explanation, you can also check out a video that we've made. We'll link all these in the description, specifically dealing with the 3 cans, the cans in Mandarin. So 能会可以, which we see all here today. So this might be a good dialogue to come back and revisit and test the things that you've learned.
Now, they're quite excited to meet a Japanese speaker, so they would like to learn off them. So what's the word to teach? What's the verb to teach?
教 and that's why we see 那 which means
Then it's a good thinking word. If you're not, you're like,
yeah 那你可以 you can 教我日文吗 can you teach me Japanese?
This is the third form of can, and this is asking for permission. Is it possible that you could teach me Japanese? I would like to study. How would you say that?
我想学 学 is to learn and 教 is to teach. And actually, if you're talking about kind of teaching overall, it's actually these 2 words put together. 教学 because there's no teaching without learning and there's no learning without teaching. So it's just a advanced word for you guys to learn. 教学. But 教 is to teach and 学 is to learn.
Okay. Now, for some reason, they say, I'm unable to teach you Japanese, but I can teach you Chinese.
我不能教你日文
Okay. 不能. So 能 is a second tone.
Again, this is another way to say can, but in this case, it's I'm unable to teach you Japanese. This could be probably because he doesn't speak Japanese fluently or she doesn't speak Japanese fluently. We're not sure here, but basically it means I'm unable to teach you Japanese. 我不能教你日文
But that I can teach you Chinese.
我教你中文吧
Now this ba, what's this?
It softens a instruction essentially because if you say 我教你中文 is I will teach you Chinese, but by adding a 吧 it just makes it into a suggestion, right? Because it lightens the instruction. You're just saying 我教你中文吧 how about it kind of makes it how about this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
我教你中文吧
If you're making a suggestion, it might be let's go to the park.
Yeah, well, or let's go grab some food, right? 我们去吃饭吧
Exactly. So it just softens the tone.
So it depends on what it's tagged along with, but you'll hear either as a soft ba, ba, like a neutral tone, or a ba, ba, ba. So it really depends, but it's a short, snappy sound.
Okay. Now, sadly, they're not interested in learning Chinese. So they say, I can already speak Chinese. How do you say already?
已经
Third tone, first tone.
我已经会说中文了 I can already speak Chinese. Come on. Now, all of the phrases that we've learned today, you can easily, the reason we've kind of created it is plug in either your native language or maybe the language of your maybe your classmate, your Chinese classmate, and you can practice these sentence structures. So, for example, you'll often hear 你会说英文吗
You can speak English. Can you speak English?
That's right. And you can say 我会说英文 and they'll be like 你可以教我英文吗
Asking for permission. Can you teach me English?
我想学英文 That might be quite a common scenario you'll find with a Chinese speaker. And just one final thing before we go into the dialogue. When we're talking about languages in Chinese, you might also hear another character, or rather another way to talk about languages. So, for example, 日文 you might hear 日语 英文 you might hear 英语 or 德文 you might hear 德语
Now, when you use the character yi, it's got a radical on the left, which means speech. So you know it's talking about
the
speech.
spoken language. Now you might be wondering if there's 中文 is there 中语 is there?
No, because Chinese has many different languages. The most common probably being Mandarin, which is also known as
普通话 普通话 So in Mandarin we have a special case because we have a shared written language but many different spoken languages. So that's one thing to bear in mind. That you might hear different types of 日语德语 英语语 this character, but it is not used when you're talking about Chinese.
And obviously, you're going to hear both 普通话 and 中文 when you're talking about that you can speak Chinese.
That's right. Okay, well, at this point, let's listen to the dialogue again. Watch out for those key phrases that we talked about, and we'll see you in a bit.
Okay.
こんにちは，元気。
你会说日文？
我会说一点。
那你可以教我日文吗？我想学。
我不能教你日文，我教你中文吧。
我已经会说中文了。
こんにちは，元気。
你会说日文？
我会说一点。
那你可以教我日文吗？我想学。
我不能教你日文，我教你中文吧。
我已经会说中文了。
こんにちは，元気。
你会说日文？
我会说一点。
那你可以教我日文吗？我想学。
我不能教你日文，我教你中文吧。
我已经会说中文了。
So today's lesson is full of high-use language. If you're in an environment with maybe lots of other classmates from different countries, you're going to talk about what languages you can speak.
What languages you'd like to learn, what languages that you could teach someone else.
Or if you speak any Chinese at all, someone's going to be amazed and say, wow, you can speak Chinese.
And if after this lesson you're like, oh, what are the 3 cans of Mandarin, right? What is 能会可以? Do go check out that video. It's a great video because when you're learning Mandarin in the classroom, you usually don't get the 3 put together and kind of compared. So do go check that out if you're not familiar with those concepts. Set some time aside. It's very, very important as a beginner to get down 能会可以.
Okay, we hope you enjoyed today's elementary class and we'll see you guys next time.
好，那我们就下次见，再见。
再见。